Hello everybody, welcome to the Real P Mankind YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a new series where we take a deep dive into the viability of bad Pokemon and what we can do to fix them. This is the first episode of hopefully many, and we're kicking things off with the two Route 1 bug types from the Johto region, Ledian and Ariados. Now, let's cut to the chase. These Pokemon suck. Ariados has probably never seen a serious bit of VGC usage in its life. It has also never placed higher than NU in Smogon singles. Even in Generation 4, which is often considered to be its best generation, NU was the lowest tier a Pokemon could even drop to. Apart from a niche case in Ubers, where it was occasionally used as a lead to counter Darkrai, this Pokemon is awful. However, at least it isn't as bad as the first Pokemon we'll be covering in this video, Ledian. Oh Ledian, you poor thing. Created in a time when Game Freak either didn't know how to or simply didn't care about making useful early route Pokemon, Ledian has nothing going for it. Bad typing, bad stats, an awful move pool, and 3 abilities that barely make an impact in battle. Ledian has always been, and will always be, awful. But let's try to change that. I'm going to attempt to give Ledian at least some bit of usefulness in a competitive setting, or hell, even in an in-game environment. With that all being said, let's jump into the changes. To be completely blunt, I do not think there is anything I could do to Ledian to give it a reason to take up a team slot in Smogon singles, especially in Gen 9. You really think people are going to pick a buffed Ledian over the kind of Pokemon we have now, over Great Tusk, King Gambit, Golden Go, Darkrai, Dondozo? The list goes on and on. Sure, I could swap Ledian's attack stat with the special defense stat, give it some broken ability like Huge Power, the fighting type, and a stab Mach Punch, but at that point, would it even be Ledian anymore? These kinds of changes, while definitely making bad Pokemon more viable, are exactly what I'm trying to avoid. I want to keep the core identity of the Pokemon. What makes it, well, I can't exactly say good, so we'll say standout. Yeah, what makes them stand out and what makes them bad. If you want to take Ledian into battle, then my god is it going to feel like a Ledian, not a knockoff Sizzle fused with an Azumarill. Even for a Pokemon that evolves at a low level of 18, a 390 base stat total is just unacceptable. There are baby Pokemon with higher totals than this. Not to mention, Beautifly, Beedrill, and Butterfree all have higher stat totals than Ledian, despite evolving 8 levels earlier. What on earth were Game Freak thinking? Whatever, let's look at the positives. A 110 special defense stat is great. This could help Ledian tank a variety of special moves it's neutral to, or maybe even weak to, like Ice Beam or Flash Cannon. If only it had a reasonable HP stat to back it up, wouldn't that be nice? Its 85 speed stat is also pretty solid. Most support-based Pokemon, such as Blissey, Clefable, and Sableye, are on the slower side of things. 85 speed puts it in a similar range to Vivillon, which, as of Generation 9, has seen usage in VGC thanks to its redirection support and other utility moves in its kit. Now, for the negatives. Literally, everything else. As I hinted at earlier, Ledian has an awful HP stat of 55 and an even worse defense stat of 50. This leaves it wide open to physical attacks and makes it way less specially bulky than it should be. Its attack and special attack are both terrible, sitting at a measly 35 and 55 respectively. This means Ledian is going to be doing very minimal damage, no matter which side of the attacking spectrum it's using. That said, I don't think this is going to be a massive issue, because for the most part, we'll be ignoring Ledian's offensive capabilities in this video. For stat buffs, I'd like to bring Ledian's base stat total up to 440. I know that seems quite low, but we're dealing with a Route 1 Pokemon here. A 440 base stat total would put Ledian on par with Pokemon like Pelipper, Berserker, and both forms of Quillfish, all of which have seen competitive use over the years. As for how we reach the 440 total, here's what I propose. First, we'll bump its HP up from 55 to 80. I know that's a huge jump, but for a defensive support-oriented Pokemon like Ledian, HP is easily the most important buff it could get. Next, I want to raise its defense from a pitiful 50 to 70. These two changes alone will give Ledian some much-needed survivability on the physical side, letting it tank certain priority and neutral moves like Mach Punch or Aqua Jet. Finally, I'd like to give its already solid special defense a slight boost, from 110 to 115. Ledian's job is to support the team and tank special hits, and when combined with its new HP buff, this small increase will make it much better at that role. Next, I'd like to discuss Ledian's move pool, and who would have guessed, it's bad. Sure, it's got some nice variety of attacking moves it could use, such as Bug Bust, Focus Blast, Knockoff, and Giga Drain, but with those awful attacking stats, these kind of moves might as well not exist. As for its supporting move pool, yeah, this is bad. No Taunt, no Whirlwind, nothing. There's a lot we can give Ledian here. To start, I'd like to give Ledian an insane buff to its arsenal. Follow Me. Yeah, I know, this move is insane. If you play VGC, you know how strong Follow Me is. Follow Me is so strong that even alone it might be enough to give Ledian a niche. However, if you believe this to be too strong, then Rage Powder is an almost equally good tool with some minor drawbacks. Secondly, I'd like to give Ledian Detect and Coaching. Detect will allow Ledian to keep himself safe while on the field, even in the face of him in prison, and Coaching will allow it to support his teammates even further. I honestly think these additions alone would give Ledian quite the justifiable niche in VGC, which, if you couldn't tell, is what I'm focusing on. But if we want to push things even further, how about we add Quick Guard to its move pool? Follow Me / Rage Powder, Coaching and Quick Guard would make for an insane support Pokemon, allowing Ledian to protect its teammates from a variety of problems such as status infliction and priority moves, while buffing its allies in a unique way that is relatively unique compared to other redirectors. Finally, let's talk about abilities, and honestly, I'm not sure there's anything I even want to change here. I feel like the changes we made to Ledian's stats and move pool alone would be enough to secure a place in certain VGC metagames, but let's say we really want to get insane with these buffs. In that case, I would change Ledian's early bird to Vital Spirit. Vital Spirit would grant Ledian an immunity to sleep, allowing it to comfortably redirect moves in the face of Vivillon's Sleep Powder or Amoonguss' Spore. So let's summarize. I would give Ledian the following buffs: a HP stat buff from 55 to 80, a defensive stat buff from 50 to 70, a special defensive stat buff from 110 to 115, the addition of Follow Me / Rage Powder, Coaching and Quick Guard to its move pool, and lastly, changing early bird to Vital Spirit, although I'm still not sure about this one. Let me know what you think about the ability change and the other buffs I've proposed in the comments. Now, let's move on to the second subject of our video. As discussed beforehand, Ariados is, well, trash. There's no beating around the bush. The Generation 4 Uber's niche is nice, sure, but in the long run, this spider has barely anything going for it. For the same reasons as Ledian, these buffs are going to be mostly focused on VGC rather than just move on singles.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
While Ledian started with a crap 390 base stat total, Ariados is starting with an incredible 400. Brilliant. I mean, I guess it's higher. It's still lower than base or some middle stage Pokemon like Murkrow and Carkol. So, yeah, awesome start. Ariados needs more. More bulk, more attack, more everything. Like Ledian, we're bringing up its base stat total up to 440 once again. But before we do, let's look at the positives. It has an okay 90 attack stat, and that's about it. It has a base speed of 40, which would be fine if the bulk was there, but it's not. Come on, Game Freak. Are you serious? Base 70 across the board? How the hell did this even get past playtesting? Whatever, let's bring Ariados up to standard and give it the stat buffs it so desperately deserves. For starters, we'll bring its base HP up from 70 to 90. This will allow Ariados to tank a wider variety of attacks from oncoming Pokemon, but let's be real, this HP buff isn't much more looking at its base 70 defenses. So I'll be buffing both defenses by 10, from 70 to 80. I know 10 seems really low, but considering the other changes I have in mind for this Pokemon, and the fact that once again it's a Route 1 Pokemon, I think it's a reasonable buff for where you would acquire it in-game.
Pizza time.
Just like its daytime counterpart, Ariados is a barren wasteland of the move pool. Offensively, it has some nice tools such as Knock Off, Leech Life, Stomping Tantrum, Shadow Sneak, and Sucker Punch, but these aren't nearly enough to make up for the rest of its negatives. Next up are the supporting moves, and to be completely honest, this is workable. String Shot, if you didn't know, is basically reverse Tailwind, dropping the speed stat of all targets by 2. Dig Web, Toxic Spike, and the amazing Rage Powder are all, of course, incredible. These tools are pretty much all the spider, unfortunately, has going for it. We'll be starting the move pool buff by giving Ariados U-Turn. In my opinion, almost every single bug type should have access to this move. Being able to attack and switch out after your opponents have moved would be amazing, not only for Ariados, but also for its teammates as well. Second, I'd like to give Ariados both Taunt and Torment. While Torment isn't a standout move, both it and Taunt can be used to disrupt opponent's gameplay and help keep itself and its allies safe from annoying strategies such as Spore and Follow Me spam. Lastly, I'd like to throw Gunk Shot into the ring. This 120 base power move is a great and powerful option to stab, allowing Ariados to hit opposing grass and fairy types decently hard, even with its base 90 attack stat, potentially securing some important KOs in a match.
God damn, I got that Fana in my system! Fana in my system!
Now, unlike Ledian, Ariados actually does have an ability I'd love to see changed. While Insomnia, much like Vital Spirit, is useful for avoiding sleep, it has two other abilities, Swarm and Sniper. These two aren't really adding anything of note to Ariados' gameplay. I suppose Sniper could have some funny usage in a full crit meme build, but at that point, why not just use Drapion or Kingdra? Those Pokemon have actual stats and actual move pools that would let them secure easy KOs. With that being said, I'd like to change Swarm. Swarm is easily the worst ability in Ariados' entire kit. A 30% boost at low HP for the poor thing's Bug Stab is pretty much useless. To help Ariados become even more viable in both VGC and in-game, I'll be taking a page out of Incineroar's 5,000 page book of tournament wins and giving Ariados Intimidate. Why Intimidate, you ask? Well, it's a spider, and for a lot of people, spiders are terrifying. I know it's pretty cliche, but it's a good enough reason in my book. As for battle viability, Intimidate would work wonders on Ariados as a slow, bulky support Pokemon, allowing its team to soak up physical hits more effectively. Paired with a combination of Rage Powder, String Shot, and U-Turn, Intimidate is the key to giving Ariados a strong niche and real viability across multiple formats. Alright, one more time, let's summarize. I would give Ariados the following buffs: a HP stat from 70 to 90, defensive buffs from 70 to 80, the addition of U-Turn, Taunt, Torment, and Gunk Shot to its move pool, and the Intimidate ability replacing the Storm ability. Just like with Ledian, feel free to let me know what you think of these buffs down below. Is there anything you change, and what would you add? And that's it. That's how I would buff both Ledian and Ariados to increase their viability in Pokemon. I just want to say thank you very much for watching to the end. This is the first video of its kind on the channel, and the first video I've ever recorded and edited like it, so I hope it turned out well. If there's a certain Pokemon you'd like to see buffed in one of these videos, let us know down below. As usual, remember to like and subscribe, your support would be greatly appreciated. That being said, bye bye.